So what I'm going to be doing is analyzing your profile across 17 different metrics. You can see here in the green, those are the most heavily weighted metrics, your grades, of course, your standardized test scores, your rigor within the context of your high school. And then the second grouping is the way you plan to apply. Is this early decision, regular decision, REA, otherwise? How engaged are you? What evidence do we have to support the area of academic interest? Do we have any achievement that will show up on that application? Is there a personal quality / obstacle that is unique that will show up on that application? What is the prospective major and how competitive is it? It used to be, what is your ethnicity and how impactful is it? We'll see how the recent Supreme Court decision changes that. What is your citizenship and how impactful is that? What high school do you go to and how well known is it within the context of the schools you're applying to? And then these are what we refer to as hooks. Each institution has its own hooks. These are the most common hooks across most institutions. And that is, do you have a sibling that attends? Did your parents attend? Did your parents donate a bunch of money? Are you a first-generation college student? Your parents didn't go to college. Are you a female in an underrepresented STEM area? Do you offer geographic diversity? Those are the most common. And then each institution has a little bit different depending on the specific school. So what I'll do is I'll run you across all of those metrics. And at the end of that, I will get a score. That score will be somewhere between 60 and 120. And you'll see it connects to this range here. So let's imagine for a moment you got a 65, right? 65 would put you here. And I'd be saying, well, the target schools that we think would be a good fit for you would be schools that have an acceptance rate between 50% and 70%. I assume that you won't get a 65, but if you get a 105, right? Over here we see, okay, it looks like target schools are schools that are somewhere between 7.5% and 15%. So that's your individual score, and that's to kind of just guide you into what types of schools we should be looking at. You probably have a pretty good sense of that already, but this is to kind of like memorialize it, if you will, through a process. And then the other thing that we'll do is I will run you across different schools. So you can see, for example, Leon here, right? So Leon gets a score of 92, right? So now what that means is that 92, if we go down to the area here, is between 85 and 95, score 3, right? So that's between 30% and 50% is a target range. Now I have to ask myself for Leon, if Leon applies to Cornell, right? And I'll give you an example in the first one. So the first one is in kind of in regards to grades. So if we said Leon had a 4 here, that's connected to the percentage of the class you are. So you can see 4 means that we believed, based on the data we had, that he's in the top 10% of his high school class. So now I ask myself, all right, if Leon's in the top 10% of his high school class, what does that mean when he applies to, let's just say for argument's sake, he applies to Cornell, right? And here's the rating down here. At top 10% of your high school class, are you not competitive in applicant pool? Are you less competitive than a typical applicant? Are you similar? Are you more competitive? Are you significantly more competitive? So I'll run that across every school that the student applies to. And what will happen at the end is you'll get a school score. And you can see, let's say for argument's sake, you get a 103.5. That means it's pretty safe. 70% of the time you should be getting in. If you get below an 80, it means you're not competitive. It used to be 0%, but then someone did get in. So it's 1%. But the point is simply that we don't think you're competitive based on the algorithm that we ran.